Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Going bell to bell with the best in professional wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's get to all the exciting pro wrestling action and bring on the host. Here is Mark Hoke.
And good morning, Las Vegas. What's happening? We are live here on KDAWN 101.5 FM. It is the talk of Las Vegas. And it has been a very busy week of pro wrestling, and we're going to bring it all to you. And it should be a pretty exciting day. And there we go. Now I'll get myself on the live stream. That helps. There we go. We're all set. But, of course, Forbidden Door from AEW, Money in the Bank this week. And, well, Legend is going to be stepping away. And we got a little insight into what was going on before everything happened at WrestleMania 42. So we're going to be talking about all of this and a whole lot more. It is a jam-packed show. I wasn't kidding when I said that on X, which you can follow us on X at Mark Hoke Show. Would certainly appreciate that. And, of course, you can join in that live stream, guys. Now, if you want to hop in there, just go on YouTube or X or Facebook, wherever you want. It's all the Mark Hoke Show. Just check it out. We would certainly appreciate it. And I am joined today. He's coming along for the ride. We're going to be like riding in a stagecoach on the frontier. My good buddy from Sports Guys Talking Wrestling, Stu Myrick, along for the ride the whole way today because he is just a sweetheart. Stu, what's up?
Did you say a stagecoach on the frontier?
Yes.
Is that just because I'm in Texas?
Yeah.
I would think we'd be riding along in a Formula One car. I mean, you're in Las Vegas that hosts the Las Vegas Grand Prix. I'm in Austin that hosts the United States Grand Prix for Formula One. In fact, I'm watching the British Grand Prix. By the way, Lewis Hamilton just took the lead. He might have a chance to win his home race. And it'd be the first win he's had in at least 3 years.
Well, I hate to tell you, Stu, but you might kill our ratings by a point if you start talking about F1 in Las Vegas right now. Oh.
Yeah, I remember you guys weren't that happy about having F1 in your city.
It was a little bit of a disaster.
I mean, we have the track. We have the track. It was actually built for Formula One, so we don't have to worry about the city streets. It's out actually Elroy, which is the southeastern suburb of Austin. So
yeah, gee, wouldn't that have been a good idea instead of tearing apart the busiest street on the planet? Just saying.
It's worked for us for this will be number 12 or number 13.
See, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Plus, we got Eminem coming to do the post-race concert.
Wow.
So,
God, if we had a post-race concert on top of all this fiasco, oh, my God.
Well, we are the live music capital of the world.
Oh, that is true. So, well, we're the entertainment capital of the world.
Right.
So
we don't do all of entertainment, but live music, even today, we still have it pretty nailed down.
Yeah. So, yeah, trust me, this will be a very interesting year for Formula One here, but
okay.
Sorry. Flashbacks for all of us in the city.
Let's talk some wrestling.
Yeah, let's talk some wrestling.
Or you lose any more listeners.
Yeah, but it was a very wild week, of course. We went into last Sunday's show, headed into Forbidden Door, and we're going to be covering that. And, of course, Money in the Bank was yesterday. I'm going to hop around a little bit because the first thing that I want to lead into is at Money in the Bank last night, kind of caught everybody a little bit off guard, was John Cena announcing this retirement. Now, I don't know exactly when this is all going to be over because it seemed like it expanded as the night went on. But John Cena has announced that at some point this next year, he will be finishing it all out. And so we're going to be saying goodbye to John Cena as an active in-ring competitor. It was kind of weird, though. I don't know when he's done or what's happening because at first he said the last match was going to be at WrestleMania, but now he's saying he's doing 30 or 40 dates, and he's going to be doing things all through 2025. So I'm a little confused, even after the press conference, as to what exactly is going to be going on. But the bottom line is we will be saying goodbye to John Cena. Stu, and your thoughts when you heard that?
Like you said, I like you, a little surprised. We knew the day was coming, because John is, he's got more and more commitments in the entertainment world, movie roles, that type of thing. So we knew that retirement was coming. Doing these retirement tours he's talking about, doing the 30 to 40 dates, into 2025, it's a good idea. The big question I had, and I think it was asked during the press conference about, does he want another title shot? Because remember, he's at 16 world titles. One other man that officially has 16 world titles, that'd be the Nature Boy Ric Flair. So does he want to break that record? And he was strategic in his answer. He said, look, I've been on a bit of a losing slump, so I got some work to do. But if the opportunity presents itself, who knows? And look, I have said this forever. John Cena's 16 world titles is totally different than Ric Flair's 16 world titles. Just because all 16 of John Cena's world titles are in WWE. Whereas Flair, NWA, WCW, WWE, he was the one that, he carried the NWA back in the 80s, doing all those dates, going to Florida, going to World Class, defending it everywhere. So it is a little bit different. And as I said, it's, Ric Flair's official 16 world titles. He's held the title much more than that.
Right.
But, some of them weren't recognized, or there was, in fact, Kerry Silken told me the story about Flair went to Puerto Rico, he defended the title, and it got so, the crowd was so raucous and ready to just riot. So just to get him out of the building, he went ahead and dropped the world title to whoever he was wrestling in Puerto Rico.
Was that the one with Jack Venovo, if I remember right?
It may have been. He dropped the title just so he could get out of there, and the NWA didn't recognize it. So, but yeah, it'll be fun to see what John Cena can create in the next year and a half. And it's interesting that they talk, he's announcing this now with, looking at 2025, the full of 2025, and we're in July. So we've got another, just under 6 months of 2024 left.
Yeah. So yeah, it would seem WrestleMania would be the place to end it. So I don't know. I think there's still some details to work out on this, and I'm curious to see if anything's going to get backed off on that, because John was, like I said, he was kind of all over the place with this thing. So I would imagine it's still a work in progress, and dragging it out for a year and a half would seem to be a little excessive, don't you think? But I don't know. I'm excited about it, and obviously John Cena is a legend, and he can do what he wants. But
I don't know if you call it excessive. I mean, if they spread them out, 30, 40 dates, you're thinking, so it's 18 months between now and the end of 2025. 30, 40 dates in 18 months, that's still, maybe 2 dates a month.
Yeah.
Maybe a third every now and again. But so I think it's a good amount.
Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be, and that question of whether they're going to put him in the world championship picture, boy, that is going to be a tough call with all of these guys jockeying for position. As we just saw last night, there's so many people that are in that world heavyweight championship picture. You sure don't want to mess him with Cody Rhodes in any way whatsoever. So this is going to be intriguing to see if they would decide, you know what, we're going to give John one more run on top. Boy, I'm very torn on that. That would seem, I don't know. I'm
Well, let's not forget they have the World Heavyweight Championship, which is still around Damian Priest's waist.
Right. But
So
you have so many
you could hold either one, and that would be 17.
Yeah, I mean, you have so many people that are wrestling so well that are in that picture, and it would just seem like if you shove John Cena into there real quick, you know, is that fair to the other guys that are there? I don't know. I mean, of course, fair has never been a word in pro wrestling that seems to fit. So interesting stuff there. But John Cena announcing his retirement last night at Money in the Bank, and has some pretty nice merch to go with it. What a shock! So that'll be something to see with John Cena walking away last night at Money in the Bank. And of course, tell you what, let's take our first break. Let's get that out of the way so we can start getting into these two pay-per-views, because of course a lot happened at Forbidden Door. 15 matches actually happened at Forbidden Door on Sunday night, and of course Money in the Bank, which, Stu, I'm torn on this card. I want to say I loved it, but then I think about some of the things that happened last night, and I'm like, I don't know. Maybe you can help me. Stu Myrick joining me here on the Mark Hoke Show. We'll be right back with the best in pro wrestling here on KDAWN, the Odyssey app, streaming out there on YouTube, Facebook, and X. We'll be right back.
.101.5 FM KDAWN.
This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
And let's get back to it here. The best in pro wrestling news and entertainment here in Las Vegas and around the world. Stu Myrick joining me. Always very happy to have him, of course, from Sports Guys Talking Wrestling out of Austin, Texas. By the way, he's got an interview with Dustin Rhodes coming up on his show this week, so you want to make sure you check that out, because Dustin's awesome, man.
He is. He's fantastic. We will talk about, we talk a little Forbidden Door. In fact, and I'll divulge this, he was the coach for the main event, Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay. He coached them.
Well, he did a darn good job.
He did. And also, and I'll plug this as well. So, I'm the lead voice for the Rhodes Wrestling Academy here in Austin, suburb of Austin, Leander. And we had Star Bash, which was kind of an all-star showcase with some of the best graduates from the Rhodes Wrestling Academy. That will premiere next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. You'll be on the Rhodes Wrestling Academy YouTube channel, so make sure you search it out. I'm on the call. 5 matches, including a tag team bunkhouse match, which was created by his father, and it will involve his nephews, the newest chapter of the Rhodes legacy, Wayne and Wyatt, the Texas Outlaws.
Nice. Well,
and I have an interview with them as well.
Very cool. Well, make sure you guys check that out. So what was the site again, Stu?
The Star Bash next Sunday on the Rhodes Wrestling Academy YouTube channel. The 2 interviews with Dustin and with Wayne and Wyatt, those will be on the Sports Guys Talking Wrestling YouTube channel Tuesday night.
All right, so make sure you check that out. Rhodes Wrestling Academy. I'm going to check that out for sure. We'll take a look. Well, Mr. Rhodes did a pretty good job setting up that main event at Forbidden Door. As long as everybody could hang in there for the other 14 matches you had to watch to get through it. That was a long day.
It was. I mean, and in fact, he and I talked about a little bit. He felt it was a little long. Adding the Kyle Fletcher and Serpentico match, the only thing I could figure was because Kyle Fletcher lost the Ring of Honor TV title in Mexico at I think it was a AAA show. So maybe they wanted to give him a little face time. I don't know. It wasn't one of those things that was really hanging on a story. So I'm trying to figure out why else would they put a 15th match, put a 5th match on the pre-show?
Yeah, I wonder if part of it is, I'm sure everybody's getting bonuses too for being on these pay-per-views, and I wonder if Tony's just being nice. Is that a possibility that he's just like, look, you guys get bonuses if you're on the pay-per-views, and I'm trying to be cool and give you guys extra money. Is that a thought?
I wouldn't put it past Tony. I don't know. I'll be honest. I really don't know because, again, you had of course 2 trios matches with the Elite and what was it?
And the Acclaimed
and Tanahashi. And then you also had the what was it? 6-man.
Joe, Hook, Shibata, and
that's right.
The Learning
and
Tree,
the Learning Tree, right? So I don't know. I don't get it.
Well, you had that House of Black, that 4-way tag match in the pre-show too. I mean, probably 7 of these matches could have been on Dynamite and Collision. I mean, realistically,
I dare say, I think outside of Swerve and Ospreay, I think all of them could have been.
Wow. There were some people crushing some of these matches too. I mean, there were some really good ones on there, and there were some ones that were, I don't know. I mean, overall, it was a good card, but it's just, one thing I think I'd like Tony to realize at some point is, you have to first be emotionally invested in a match, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're not emotionally invested in it, it's just 2 people or 4 people going out there and doing a wrestling match. So you're gonna have people that are not the fans aren't that interested. So the crowd's dead. So that doesn't look good.
Yeah.
That's a problem when you have dead spots for a crowd. But then you're taking people on such a roller coaster all the way through, and you're doing it for 5 hours. The average people can't handle that.
No.
So even if you have a great match at match 13, it's everybody's just exhausted. There's only so much you can take. So it's kind of a double whammy there. It's either, if either A, you don't care, or B, you're just tired. It's just a bad look. And, maybe that's part of the reason sometimes people are saying, well, the crowd's dead or not quite into it. Well, you're taking them too many places too long, and that's got to make it hard for everybody. And then it shows to the audience. And then, if you're watching this at home, you're saying, well, those people don't care. Why should I care? And then it kind of spreads to everything. So, I think this is a big problem they've got to fix.
So on my show, I had Mike Supervivi on from Wrestling Observer Live, he's one of the best guys I know that covers Japanese wrestling. And something we talked about was the simple fact, look, as fun as the matches are, as fun as, we see what we see on Dynamite, Rampage, whatever, AEW product is cold right now. New Japan product is cold right now. We also saw, you mentioned Tanahashi, and look, I love Tanahashi. I got to meet him in 2018 when he was at Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor in New Orleans. Got a liner from him, by the way, which is really cool. I love Hiroshi Tanahashi. He needs to retire. I hate to say that, but it was so evident in that trios match with the Acclaimed. He can barely move. I mean, he's fallen in the same thing that Keiji Muto, had to deal with his knees being practically gone. Tanahashi's getting that same way.
Yeah.
Same thing with Naito.
Yep.
Moxley and Naito. Look,
that match was Dustin, not good.
And Dustin even mentioned, he talked about it. It wasn't. And Mox did everything he could, but again, New Japan has got to start bringing up these young guys quick. And that's Shota Umino. That's Ren Narita. They got to get them they got to get those guys in the main event spot. You got the G1 that's kicking off. We got 6 months until Wrestle Kingdom, and then they announced this Wrestle Dynasty on January 5th with AEW, Ring of Honor, CMLL, and Stardom. They got to get these young guys up and quick if they want to, bring that fan base back. And it was evident at Forbidden Door. It was a paper.
Yeah, and I think, and you speaking of the problem New Japan has there, that boy, you gotta wonder if Tony is paying too much respect to the legends and by booking them on these cards at this point. But then at the same time, now what do you do next year? Let's say you kind of start sliding these guys off to the side. Well, now you've got all these younger guys that are going to be coming up that the American fans just aren't going to know who they are. They're not going to know them. And you're not going to have a lot of time to develop the stories that you're going to need. And the thing is, part of the fascination with Forbidden Door in the first place was you were getting guys like Okada in there. And, just a couple of names, trying to think who else I'm totally blanking.
That's
like
okay,
Shibata and Takeshita, like those guys. Those guys, it's like, oh my God, they're here. Well, now they're in AEW.
Yes.
So
exactly.
the fascination of them coming over is gone because they're in AEW now. So what do you do with this with Forbidden Door at this point? It's because really there's no Forbidden Door with CMLL or anything like that. So this card is going to be really tricky next year when they try to put this together, I think.
Not enough fans know like Mystico from CMLL or Hechicero or any of those guys. Almost everybody's forgotten when Mystico was in WWE. I don't even remember what his name was, but it was. You're right. The big stars in New Japan, Ospreay, Okada, Shibata, now they're in AEW. Yep. We see them every week on Dynamite, on Rampage, on Collision. So yeah, that thrill is gone.
Mm-hmm.
As I mentioned, Tanahashi he's got to find a way to step away. Naito, I think, might be in the same boat. So then, like you said, what happens when they start, planning Forbidden Door next year? Hopefully with the younger guys. And look, Shingo is still Shingo. Ishii is still. He's not bad.
Yeah, he's starting to lose a step, but
he is.
Yeah, Shingo was great. The match with Danielson and Shingo was amazing. That was a terrific match.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, this is going to be a trick. And the other thing is that I'm kind of surprised they're doing a card over in Japan too. I suppose it's kind of tit for tat over there, but at the same time, now you're really taking away from what made Forbidden Door special because you're doing it over there too. So it's, the uniqueness of the card is gone a little bit. I mean, I get it. Don't get me wrong. I get it. Yeah, but at the same time, you're doing it twice.
Right.
Don't do the same gag twice.
Well, but at least this one will be mostly under the New Japan banner.
Right.
So this isn't necessarily an AEW pay-per-view. It's a New Japan event. But they're going to include Stardom, CMLL, AEW, Ring of Honor. So, yeah, that's... And it was, it was asked... I think it was asked in the press conference. Tony asked, I think at one time, we've had Forbidden Door here. This was number 3, I think. When does Japan get an event with AEW stars? Well, here we go.
There you go.
But it's so funny they're using the Wrestle Dynasty. That was actually the name of an event they were going to do in August of 2020 at Madison Square Garden before the pandemic hit.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Hold on.
Oh, Stu's digging for something here. Stu's got a souvenir. Stu Myrick, everybody. There it is. There you go.
That was the button for a Wrestle Dynasty that was going to be in Madison Square Garden in August. That was right after right after G1 Supercard happened in 2019 at the Garden, which I got to cover, which was fantastic. So yeah, they're bringing back the Wrestle Dynasty thing. Now they get to have it in Japan. So, I'm okay with that, but
we'll see how it turns out. So,
I mean, the carry is going to be how they figure out that card after doing Wrestle Kingdom. Who do they put on Wrestle Kingdom from AEW? Because they usually have
a couple. Yeah.
So how do they balance that and still keep Wrestle Kingdom the premier event for New Japan?
Yeah. Now, welcome to the world of crossovers. That everybody wanted the crossovers, but now when you have a cross promotion matches and you're bringing in guys from different places, how do you work all this out? There's booking and logistical issues that everybody needs to take into account, and it sounds fun, and it's nice to do it as a one-time thing, but as you dig deeper into this and you keep doing it and crossing those lines more and more, it gets way more intricate than anybody realizes. So this will be some intriguing tests for everybody putting all these relationships together. And actually, as for the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, just kind of running down through some of these matches. Interesting wrap up with the ladies, with Toni Storm and Shirakawa, who did a great job. And I think that whole storyline with them and Mariah May came out all cute. That was fun. I think people enjoyed it.
It was cute. The build was confusing to me, but the end was cute.
Yeah, so all three girls going home together. Well, congratulations. Whatever floats your boat on that. Danielson and Takagi had a really good match. That was a blast. Zack Sabre and Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy reminds us once again he can wrestle
and do it well.
Yes, and Zack Sabre is still that one mystery guy. Still waiting for Tony to get his claws into him. But I almost wonder if Zach's when his contract's over, he's gonna end up at WWE. I don't know if Triple H is gonna make the same mistake twice and let somebody like that get away, but Zack Sabre's pretty darn good.
Well, the kicker's going to be, does Zack Sabre Jr. want to leave the UK? That's going to be the big deal as to, when his New Japan contract is up, whether it's Tony Khan or Triple H and Nick Khan, can they make the deal sweet enough for him to leave the UK and move to the United States?
Yeah, but he is so amazing. I mean, I was there when he wrestled Bryan Danielson, and that match was just something like I'd never seen. Absolutely phenomenal. And by the way, we're on the Mark Hoke Show here with Stu Myrick sitting in with me as we go through. We're going to be talking. We're talking Forbidden Door right now, and we're going to get into WWE Money in the Bank as we roll through the show today. I want to thank you for being with us. And by the way, if you're in the chat box and you have a comment, we'd love to hear from you. So I know there's people in there, so say hi and let us know what you think. Jack Perry, the scapegoat, not a shock, wins the TNT championship. But I am excited that at least Mark Briscoe got his licks in, and now he's going to be in the Blood and Guts match, taking these guys on. Oh, man, I would love to see Mark Briscoe get a title in AEW other than, a Ring of Honor title. That would be cool. I was hoping Briscoe would win this just because of everything that's happened, but I'm okay with a Jack Perry Mark Briscoe feud. Down with that. Yeah.
You got the Elite getting stronger, more gold comes to the Elite, but at the same time, Mark Briscoe, and he's one of my favorites. I love Mark to death, and and I'm happy that he is the current Ring of Honor World Champion. I would love to see him get some AEW gold on top of that. Now he's the first one on Team AEW for this Blood and Guts match in a week and a half. We'll see who else. We'll see who he surrounds himself with on that team. Plus, the Elite have to find a fifth. They thought they had one with Hangman Adam Page when he came back, but apparently that's not happening. So let's see who they get for a fifth to combat whoever is going to be on Team AEW.
I'll carry a bag of thumbtacks for Briscoe.
There you go.
I'll do that. I'll do that for him. But an interesting one with Mercedes Moné and Stephanie Vacour. Mercedes is getting booed out of the buildings lately, And of course, Dr. Britt Baker shows up, and eventually she revealed she had a mini stroke, which would explain a lot of why she was out. Of course, she had, all sorts of injuries and stuff and terrible problems with her back and hip, but that mini stroke would explain the 10-month absence as opposed to her only being out for a few months. But Mercedes has a problem, I think. I think everybody's a little surprised that she is not getting the reception that everybody. I'm not, because I figured something with that. Look, she interacted well with the 4 horsewomen, but on her own, I wasn't sure. And now she's getting some. I'm not sure if it's the nuclear heat or if it's go away heat. I don't know, Stu.
I think it's a mix of both, quite honestly. This when she came in AEW, look, she's been signed with AEW for what? 4 months? And they just now had her first match, or back at not Forbidden Door, their last pay-per-view.
Waited too long.
It's I don't know, and her build, her character in AEW, this isn't Sasha Banks. Now she's put that behind her, for better or for worse. Now, part of the heat on Forbidden Door, it got spurned on. Apparently there was a fan ringside that had a Celtics jersey on.
Yeah.
They're in New York, so of course they're booing the hell out of the Celtics. Then they figure out, hey, Mercedes Moné's from Boston. Let's boo her. So there was that. But look, she has not made the splash that I think Tony definitely was hoping for, and I think a lot of people were thinking it would happen. Her journey in New Japan got derailed with the ankle injury. She was out on the shelf for close to a year. I'm not thrilled about her.
I think they rushed this whole thing with her too. I mean, I think she should have wrestled a little bit more. It's just, look, I'm not in the room, as I like to say, but she should have wrestled a couple matches before she did. And then you put her against Willow Nightingale, which, I think would have been a nice feud down the road, but then you put her right in the heel position because everybody loves Willow. Mm. And now all of a sudden you're going to put her right up against Dr. Britt Baker returning, with her return. I think they should have taken a little more time with her. Plus, this, to me, putting the TNT title on her she's someone that should be fighting for the world title. And now all of a sudden, and now you've also created a situation where now you've got Dr. Britt Baker, who should be fighting for the world title, is going after the TNT title too. And what's going to happen to Toni Storm? Who's going after Toni Storm now? You got it's going to be Mariah May and Willow. Okay, so Willow's going up, but now you almost have a tier where who's the better champion? And it's weird. I mean, it's the roster is getting stronger, but is it? I don't know. It's an odd dynamic as to who's where on the card.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
It is. I don't get it. I get. You want the New Japan Strong Women's title on Mercedes. It was intended for her to begin with, and if she doesn't injure her ankle against Willow, she does win that title. We get it. But yeah, at the same, and you mentioned Britt Baker. Look, between Britt Baker and Adam Cole, dear Lord, the what they have gone through in the last couple of years with injuries and mini stroke and everything. I understand their passion to wrestle, to be in front of that crowd, but man, with what they have gone through, it would have shocked me in the least, and I would have absolutely said absolutely if they decided, you know what, enough is enough.
Yeah.
And step away. But I get it. And we still haven't seen Adam Cole come back yet.
No.
Like you said, just now Britt Baker coming back. It is a little bit of a cloudy situation with the women's division, with the world title and the TBS title, but yeah, they'll sort that out. I guess they've got 6-7 weeks between now and All In London, then a couple more weeks after that with All Out in Chicago.
Yeah, it's a very intriguing situation. So we'll see how this all turns out. And we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the Owen Hart situation with the Owen Hart Cup and Swerve and, of course, Will Ospreay in that main event. And then we get to hour number 2. We're going to take a hard look at that Money in the Bank card last night. Plus, we're also going to talk a little bit about that WrestleMania Behind the Curtain special that WWE put together. That was intriguing. Stick around, everybody. Stu Myrick and me, Mark Hoke, will be right back.
1015 FM KDAWN.
You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Now, here again is Mark Hoke.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Mark Hoke Show. It's the best of pro wrestling news and entertainment coming at you here on KDAWN 1015 FM, the talk of Las Vegas. Also streaming on the Odyssey app. If you have not downloaded the Odyssey app, well, we would certainly appreciate it if you would do that. You can take us anywhere on the road and, of course, enjoy all sorts of terrific shows, not just ours, here on KDAWN and, well, pretty much everywhere in the Odyssey family. So download that app right now. AUDACY. And, of course, we're streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X. And we would certainly appreciate if you take a second to click on that subscribe button on YouTube. That means the world to us. We would certainly enjoy that. And, just make us happy today. It's Sunday, 4th of July. Celebrate with independence with the Mark Hoke Show. USA, USA. I don't know how that's going to work, but let's give it a shot. We got Stu Myrick from Sports Guys Talking Wrestling, does an unbelievable podcast down there in Austin, Texas. Happy to have Stu along for the ride. And, of course, got all that wrestling memorabilia in the background. If you were watching the live stream, you'd see that. But Stu having an awesome day with us. Thank you for joining us, sir.
By the way, congratulations, Lewis Hamilton, winning the British Grand Prix. His first win in 3 years.
Trying to kill ratings.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It is. I am Sports Guys Talking Wrestling, so I do sports.
All right. All right.
I've covered F1, so
Great.
But it was cool to see him on top of the podium. Especially in his home race. So
yeah, that is cool. That is cool. Well, we'll be seeing those guys out here in Las Vegas the week before Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm. The month after they're here in Austin. Which, by the way, talk about it's going to be a busy weekend in Austin. The weekend that Formula One comes to Circuit of the Americas, that Saturday, the day before the race, Georgia Bulldogs, Texas Longhorns at DKR Texas Memorial Stadium.
Oh, there you go.
A big SEC battle. That is so weird to say now.
Oh,
Texas is now in the SEC, but so yeah, it's going to be a little nuts here in the ATX.
There you go. Sounds like a great time down there. So we had a main event with Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay, and Swerve going over. Will Ospreay had a little issue with Don Callis trying to get him to be a bad, bad boy, and Will wouldn't do it. But so Swerve remains the world champion. Looks like he will be headed into All In with the world championship. And this is going to be very intriguing in that now the winner of the Owen Hart tournament gets the world title shot, and it is down to Bryan Danielson and Hangman Adam Page. And I said, look, I would let Danielson win the world title at All In just to give him a little boost, get a little extra mainstream publicity. You can put it back on Swerve a little bit after it's over. That's great, even though it'd be a huge win for Swerve, obviously, to pull that off. But now Hangman's coming up through here as we kind of expected he was going to get into this tournament. But is Swerve and Hangman going to be that main event? And if so, is that the right call, Stu?
Let's see. First question, is that going to be the main event? Something tells me it is, because that's a story that hasn't been finished yet. Forgive the pun. We now have an angry Hangman Adam Page as opposed to the Moody or whatever.
Thank God, by the way.
I'm with you. I would love to give Bryan Danielson a world title run. This is his final year as a full-time in-ring competitor, so why not? But I have a feeling Hangman Adam Page will make it to All In. He's going to face Swerve. They announced, I don't know if it was on YouTube or on social media, Jeff Jarrett's going to be the special guest enforcer for that Owen Hart tournament final match. You know, of course, the relationship that he had with Owen.
And an unbelievable promo before the tournament started.
It was wonderful. Wonderful. And then, look, I love Jeff Jarrett to death. He's been on my show several times, a wonderful man. So, you know, I root for Jeff Jarrett when I can. But, yeah, I got a feeling it's going to be Hangman and Swerve. It would not shock me if they put the world title back on Hangman. I don't think that's the right call.
No, I think if you have that match, you got to keep it on Swerve then. I think you have to keep going with Swerve.
Yeah, you got to keep building with Swerve. Absolutely. Have Swerve get a signature win at All In. The funny thing is, now they have now they have 2 weeks between All In and All Out, as opposed to last year when it was back to back. I'm not so sure you do a world title match at All Out. If only because the All In, it's going to be the main event. We know that, it's going to be a banger. I'm not sure you do the world title at All Out. Maybe have him handy or put him in a multi-man match, tag team, trios, whatever. But I'm not sure you do a world title match at All Out in Chicago.
Well, I'll give Tony a little idea if he hasn't thought of it yet, because I have been pushing for. If Danielson loses this, I've been pushing for this match. Let's have Nigel McGuinness jump out of the booth and cost Bryan Danielson this match and get him in the ring at All In. I have seen Nigel a couple times when he was here in Las Vegas before these two events, and I said, you got to do it. You got to do it. It's time. And I'm going to tell you what, if that match happened at All In, the place would go berserk. Then I would be okay.
Yeah.
And my prophecy would be fulfilled and I would be in heaven. So I'm all right with that one. That would be fun.
I'm okay with that. He was a phenomenal wrestler when he was in the ring. I know he is good at commentary. Now, I am one of those guys. I am not a fan of heel commentators. If for no other reason, if wrestling is supposed to be a sport, you don't see a bad guy commentator in the NFL. I mean, unless you hate Troy Aikman. You don't see a bad guy commentator in the NBA, Major League Baseball, Formula One, soccer. Why do it in wrestling? And especially Nigel. He does a fine job with commentary, but good God, there are times when, he is spouting off. He is either just, borderline in love with Christian Cage or the vitriol that he spews about Bryan Danielson, and I just have to roll my eyes.
Maybe they've been setting it up all along. Maybe. All right, well, that's going to wrap hour number 1 here on the Mark Hoke Show. Stu Myrick's going to be sticking around for hour number 2 as we get ready to break down WWE Money in the Bank, and what a fun but weird night it was. I don't know how else to describe it. Stu's going to try and help me put it up from a C- to maybe a B+. We're going to give it a shot. So, once again, please give us a follow on X at Mark Hoke Show, Facebook, The Mark Hoke Show. Subscribe to us on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show. We're going to be back for hour number 2 here on KDAWN. So, stick around, everybody. We'll be right back.
Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join The Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.